So, welcome to our open house for our Amalfi Coast Italy experience coming up this fall. I'm so excited, aren't you?
Buongiorno, buongiorno. Yes,
All
I
right,
am excited. I am
right, right.
it's real now because
I
we have
know.
been preparing this, I think, for
Oh, wow.
I don't know, almost a year. I think when we really talked first, it was a year ago, we had this idea.
Right.
You had the idea, and me living in Italy, and we've done a couple of things together, and it kind of
Mhm.
developed, and now it's real, right? We have
I
some
know.
people who already signed up, so
Yeah,
that's good. Only a few spaces remaining,
that's
and
right.
we put such a nice program together. I
I
can't
know.
wait to
I
share
know.
more.
I know. It's going to be great. So why don't go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about you, and then I'll do the same thing, and then we can get into. I know we had some people write in with some questions. I want to make sure that we answer all of those, and we'll just go from there.
Cool, absolutely. So I'm Andrea Caprio. I am German, actually, married to an Italian man. We've traveled a lot. We lived in over 11 countries, and we moved to Italy about, what is it, 5 years now. It was actually when COVID started, like right in that week. And yeah, we've been to another place in Tuscany, and now I'm in Liguria, and I fell in love with Italy. I've been actually to Italy many times as a child, living in Munich. Like Italy is our place to go for holidays. So I know Italy really well. I love the country. I love the people. And I also discovered a few years ago the Amalfi Coast, which I fell in love with. It's one of the most beautiful spots in this world.
Hmm.
I really loved it. And yeah, about me, I am a nutrition coach and a health coach. I'm also a business coach. I've been doing that for about, yeah, it's almost 10 years, I think,
I
nine and a
know.
half years or
Yeah.
so, yeah. And work online with folks whom I help, anything from losing weight, overcoming mindset issues, mindset blockages, overcome trauma. I help them to grow their business and also lots of mindset work in there. So love working, I love helping people, and yeah, doing this together with you. I've been on Alison's podcast, on two podcasts, right?
Yep.
We've
And we're
done a
going to be
couple of things
recording another
together.
episode
We do
soon, and we're
another
going to
one,
be
and
talking
you
more
have
about
been,
this.
Alison,
Yeah.
yeah, you have been on one of my summits actually as well. So we have been going for some while. So that's basically about me.
I love that. So for everyone listening, I'm Allison Katzkowski, but the Allison K is usually easier, which is why I usually just say that. So I've been in the health and fitness industry for close to 30 years now, pretty much done it all. But in the last 10 years, I've pivoted more into business coaching, retreat coaching. We've been doing retreats here for quite a while. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm choosing a location for a retreat is I really just like to be inspired to go somewhere. It's not that I just go to a book and read and hope that I find the perfect place. I'm usually inspired to go somewhere. And I've always wanted to go back to Italy. My story with Italy begins when I was a college student. I got a chance to study abroad one summer, and I absolutely loved the Amalfi Coast. We were only there for not even a week, but it was by far one of my most favorite places that summer. And that was a long time ago, but that's how much I remember that I knew I wanted to get back. So it's been on my retreat list for quite a while. And then when Andrea and I got to meet, she was actually on my podcast first. We got to be friends. I had her on my other podcast, and we've since collaborated on a couple other things. And so I knew that when the time came that I was ready to explore a retreat in Italy, that she was the one I wanted to work with, because I believe in relationships and building partnerships because we're meant to be with other people. And so for me, a lot of a retreat experience is about being with a group of inspired people. So we've worked together for, a little, not quite a year yet on this program, but many, many calls talking about activities. And because Andrea lives over there, she really brings a very unique perspective to what we're going to do and a little bit about the Italian way of life and the Italian culture and all the things that we want all of you, should you choose to come on this experience with us, that we would like for you to experience too. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we are. So
Great summary. Love it. Yeah, I think we have a very special energy together, Alison,
Yeah,
and
totally,
putting
totally.
that together. And yes, I always believe, in complementing each other. And we definitely do that in having a similar, direction we go.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But we have both a slightly different set of specializations,
Yes.
expertise. And of
Yes.
course, yeah, you have, a bit more the retreat experience. I've done some retreats, but the Italian experience certainly is on my side, right? And
Yes,
I've
absolutely.
worked very hard initially to put this program together in terms of really literally
Yes.
sourcing the best spots in Amalfi, because Amalfi is can get very crowded. So you want to also to have those little corners that are not that
Yes.
known on one hand, and the most beautiful, really programmed together for you to experience everything.
Yeah. So let's start with where we're staying and kind of the general area. And I'm going to defer to you on this one. We had a few people ask about the itinerary in general. So when you think of the Amalfi Coast, like if you look at it on the map, you probably think of it as being just one area, but it's really not. It's really several small little areas, right? All in the same place. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the it's a great question. So the Amalfi Coast, so basically it's pretty near to Naples and everything looks near, but there are small streets. It's not
Yeah.
like a big highway that goes there. And I just want to put that in perspective. So you have basically the Amalfi Coast is sort of like a peninsula, like going
Hmm.
out of the main coast of the Italian boot, if you imagine it, just a bit south of Naples. Now, on one side, actually, it's technically not called Amalfi Coast, so most people would refer, but it's the other side where we are staying, which is the proper Amalfi Coast,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
it's the south part of this peninsula. And if you look when you kind of drive around from one end, you go all the way to the end of the peninsula, and you drive down on the other side. It's not a straight road, but there's small little roads, like in Italian movies, basically. It takes you, well, I think over 2 to 3 hours,
Yeah.
right, just to go, but it's in kilometers or miles, it's actually not that much, right? So you
Right.
need to do that. So where we are is really right, almost right smack in the center,
Mhm.
a little bit more towards the mainland of Italy from that peninsula side.
Mhm.
And we are going to stay actually in the Hotel Margarita.
Mhm.
And that is in a really great place in Praiano. Praiano lies nestled between Amalfi, which is also the city,
Mhm.
and the most well-known place in the Amalfi Coast called Positano, and it's sort of halfway in between there. And it's really great because obviously we're directly at the beach. I mean, you have to walk down, but we're directly on the beach, and it's very
Uh-huh.
easy to get on one side and to the other side. So in terms of the various activities and excursions we are doing, and I will obviously share a bit more after, it's brilliant because instead of going like 3 hours or so, most things will be like half an hour to an hour away. Some maybe
Yeah.
a little bit longer, but most is actually pretty easy because you can obviously cut through and so on. So it's a really great situation on one hand, but also Praiano is not that overcrowded, like for example, Positano. Positano is super crowded and quite honestly also very, very expensive.
Uh-huh.
So, we wanted to keep obviously the retreat affordable for everybody. So that was also one thing. So we really have the best of all.
Yeah. Well, and I love the area where we are because it's not that any place on the Amalfi Coast isn't authentic Italian, right? But but I love where we are because it almost feels like a home kind of feel. Like I was reading about when we chose our accommodation, the Hotel Margarita, it's actually locally owned by a family.
It is, absolutely. And I actually spoke when initially I had, talks and negotiations and all that. I spoke to I don't know, the mama, or I'm not so sure, but
Uh,
yes, definitely somebody who was in there. And it's really great because, I mean, what I also liked and so important is, it's not just the hotel, but, they have like the spa facilities as well. So there's a lot of extra things. There's also a nice restaurant that is
mhm.
there, because a lot of
Yes,
hotels don't have that necessarily.
right.
Right. So they have just the hotel, or, or they're
And
not
you're
well
kind of on your
situated.
own for the rest.
For
Yeah.
us, it was super important that you can ideally walk to the beach or it's near, and the same walk to the village or city center. I
Yes.
mean, it's more like a
Yes.
village. So, so it's kind of quite easy in this. And of course, you can also go, it's near to where the boat is, that
Uh-huh.
brings us on a boat trip. We're going to talk about that. So it's,
Yeah,
I mean, I was just looking at the list. I had a list. I think initially, I contacted like 30 or 40
you
different
did.
hotels
You
and
did.
guest
You were,
houses and
we did a lot of
all
legwork.
that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did a lot, and that was definitely the best. It ticked all the boxes, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about the hotel is that, like you said, it has a restaurant that we're actually going to provide breakfast every day because the hotel does that. So that's one meal you can count on every single day with us. And not to mention, there's going to be other things that you can do, during the free time, which at all of my retreats, there's always free time built in because my philosophy is usually less is more. And the last thing I ever want anybody to feel for coming on a retreat with me is that there was just too much happening. Because
Yeah.
part of what we want you to all to do when you join us is allow yourself to just be immersed in the experience of it. Let us help take care of you, but at the same time, let you decide what your retreat is going to look like for yourself. Because we want you to come home and be energized and excited rather than exhausted from the travel.
Yeah, I fully agree because we all are a little bit different, right? Some people, I know we talked about, they want like the full program, and some want to take it a little bit easier. We have, different people at different levels in their lives, stages in their
Right,
lives, and so on.
right.
So we have really put together something for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Nobody needs to do everything necessarily. It all fits together, and there's things that are accessible for everybody as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know one of the questions that we had was there was some concern about how physically in shape you needed to be. I think the way the question was worded is, do I need to be athletic? And my feeling is no. My feeling is obviously the geography can be a little bit challenging in the area with like, the hills and all of that. But my feeling is that you do not need to be super athletic to be able to do what we've planned.
So to answer that, you're absolutely right. There's definitely no athleticism needed or anything. It is, however, it goes up and down. So there are, when you walk around in the little villages and so on, there are stairs. There was one hike we initially had put in the program, and we put that it would be for somebody who wants to do that on a free day. So there's a beautiful, it's Path of God hike. It's
Hmm.
beautiful. And that would be the only part that would be athletic, but it's on a day where it's kind of a free day. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I think it was the
Right.
third day. But
Mhm.
some of the things anyway, we need, depending on the weather, of course, leave to, a little bit flexible. But there you could do that. But otherwise, it's just like a little walk in the villages, going around. It is going to the beach, of course. When we go, we have one boat trip, so
Yeah.
getting off and on the boat, but that's about it. So it's
Yeah.
super, super easy. And yeah, probably the one thing where Pompeii is a
Mm.
lot of walk to do. So, but it's in Pompeii, everything is straight. So
Yeah. It's pretty
there's no
flat, is
issue.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's
Yeah.
super flat. So it's also easy, and it will be a guided tour anywhere. So it's not going to be, a run through that. We
Yeah.
will go at leisure space. So
Yeah. And
it's
before we talk
definitely
about
doable.
the boat trip, I would like to talk about your friend that's helped us with a lot of this. Your concierge travel friend is the way I like to call it, how I like to refer to him. He's been very helpful with like figuring out where we can put things and all of that. And he is the one who helped us organize the trip to Pompeii that we're going to be doing.
He actually helped. Pepe is his name, and
Uh-huh.
you will, when you join us, you will meet
Yeah.
him because one of the activity is actually done by him, and we're gonna tell you a little bit more about. It's
Yeah.
really one of. I'm looking forward to that one, I
Yeah, me
must say.
too.
It's quite fun activity. But he's been awesome. I came across him through a recommendation. It was the best thing because he's there, right? He's a tour guide and he also organizes the transport. So he will not
Yeah.
only him because he's his people, obviously, but pick you up when you arrive in Naples and bring you actually to the hotel. And he will do some of our transfers as well,
Hmm.
most of them. So he has been really great in helping one with finding the right spot, like the Hotel Margarita. He knows them as well, so I can trust him.
Hmm.
And yeah, putting that all together was, I mean, we are constantly in communication. He's been so,
Yes.
so good.
Yeah, I know
Having
we've
somebody
had.
local.
Right. And I know I've had a few people ask me questions as we've been marketing the spots, and he's been very quick to respond
Yeah.
and give us the information that we need. So I guess what I'm saying to those of you listening is that we have a very trusted resource on the ground that we can use when we get there. If anything were to come up or anything else that we need our questions answered, we can do that.
Yeah, it's first of all, he's Italian. He speaks very good English. Absolutely. I've been most of the time actually communicating. I speak Italian, no
Yeah,
problem,
right.
but mostly I've been communicating in English because, also so I can keep Alison
Hmm. Yeah.
on everything. So he definitely is good. He knows that area inside out. He's been doing that, I don't know, for his whole life, I would guess.
Yep.
And it's really great. And that, I mean, I speak very well Italian as well, right? I've been living here, and my husband is Italian. So, for me, it's also very easy to communicate. And that has opened us as well a lot of doors that
Uh-huh.
usually I feel, the usual tourist or so would probably not be able to experience.
Yes.
So I think that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and I definitely want to address that for just a minute. Because I know that a lot of retreats in different countries or whatever, it's basically looking at a lot of the famous places, the tourist attractions. And really what makes this experience different from what we've done is we've really tried to create it from a local's perspective, from like not just the must-see places, but the places that will really actually give you the real feel for what it is that we're going to be helping you experience.
Yeah, very true. You can see that inside out. There are so many little things. And yes, of course, you hit all the spots, there are a lot of movies that have been done in the Amalfi Coast, so that we're going to visit some of them. You might
Yeah,
recognize them maybe from one or the other movie, but yes, they're definitely the spots, but a lot of hidden spots that I
yeah,
think Pepe will show us
yeah. I
as
love
well.
that. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about the boat tour then. So we're going to do that. We had originally planned to do that later in the retreat, but we're going to do that the pretty soon after we arrive, the first full day that we're all together. And we're really doing that kind of as insurance, if you will, in case the weather is kind of spotty. That gives us a little bit of an opportunity to move it to another day if we have a problem that day. But we're going to go ahead and do that the first full day that we're together.
Yeah, I mean, usually in October, the weather is really great in Italy, of course, especially in the south of Italy. There should be no issue. Most of my holidays, actually, in the last 5 years, I've done in that area. Not this, I mean, one time directly there, one time more or less at the same height, one time in Sardinia, one time in Puglia. So I've been very often in October in that area because I don't have kids. I mean, I have kids, but they are adult, right? So,
Yeah,
I don't. Have to stick to holidays, and I rather travel when it's empty. And also, it's, by the way, very important thing that we do. Why we did it in October
yes,
is because there is a lot of things happening this year in Italy, and you don't want to go in the main season. So it's definitely, and it's a bit colder because it's
yeah,
getting very hot nowadays during yeah, during the main season, even in September. So October is a great time to travel because it's still warm. You still
Hmm.
can, go in the sea or in the pool and so on. So the boat trip we've done, like you said, in the first on the first or second day after arrival, of course. So if there is some rain, that's the only thing that is a little bit depending on good weather. We are slightly flexible. So what's going to happen with the boat trip is that we are going to be picked up pretty near to the hotel. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but it's pretty near. And basically spend the whole day on a boat and with a boat drive along the coast. And the coast you cannot imagine, it's so beautiful. There are
Uh-huh.
caves, so we're gonna go with a boat in those caves. We're gonna land at some beaches as well. I don't know if you do one or two beach stops, that I don't know exactly, but usually I think there are two beach stops where also when we are on the beach we will do some activities, and you're going to share a little bit maybe about
Uh-huh.
that in a minute.
Hmm.
And yeah, we will have a picnic with us. There will be a little aperitivo. Aperitivo time in Italy is very, very important. It's, I
Uh-huh.
think, the main thing besides coffee. So you
Uh-huh.
will have all that. There will be some nibbles and all. Yeah, and we spent basically the whole day driving up and down with the boat, the coast, and having lots of fun and the most beautiful souvenirs. For me, that's the one of the highlights
Yeah.
there. I mean, there's so many actually, so everything is a highlight. But
Yeah.
I've done that boat trip or a similar one because each is a little bit different, of course.
Hmm.
But I've done that. It's gorgeous. I mean, literally, it's like oh, you don't know where to look at. So
Uh-huh.
beautiful because
Yeah.
we're gonna see the nestled villages, coming there because it's like a little mountain actually, this peninsula, and it's just beautiful. And of course, we will swim as well, so everything is gonna be there.
Yeah. So we definitely want people to bring bathing suits, or
Good
comfortable
idea.
clothing that you can be on a beach in or that you feel comfortable being on a boat in as well.
Very true. Yes, absolutely. And of course, hats and sunscreen and all that for that. I mean, either way, I'm sure everybody knows that. But yeah, just and then I think you want to share a little bit what we're gonna do, or a little bit
Yes.
an idea what we do, because we have
So
some
a
some activities.
lot of what we do on Allison K retreats, I like to call them futuristic experiences. It's all about helping you connect to the version of yourself that's in the future. And I think so many of us think the future is way down the road. It's, I've had that there's this giant space between where we are now and where we're going to be in the future. And that's just simply not true. Our future selves, I believe, are always sitting in the room with us right now. Like your future self right now is sitting right next to you. And so, one of the things that I always like to do is one of my signature exercises is what I call the compass walk. And we're going to do this when we go to Pompeii. And I think it's going to be the perfect backdrop because Pompeii is so historic. It's really is symbolic of a past that doesn't exist anymore. And so, what I really am inviting any of you listening, and if you're sharing this with a friend, please feel free to do that. What I really want to encourage all of you to think about on this is that who do you want to be in the future? And what would you like to tell your future self right now if he or she was in the room with you? What would that conversation look like? And one of the things that we're going to do on the compass walk is literally walk the different points. We're going to sort of makeshift a compass. There's really not a compass per se there. So we're going to hopefully do this. We're going to find a place there that gives us a little bit of room to walk so that we can all talk to each other. And one of the things I'm going to ask all of you to think about is what does the direction to your future look like? And maybe if you're retired now or you're at a point in your life where you just want to kick back and relax, you can still be open to doing this exercise because there's the thing I always want you to understand is that there's always more and that we can be happy and content with where we are, but there's always more. We can always open ourselves up to more. And that's really what this exercise is all about. And what I find to be really powerful about this when people are talking and speaking it out loud is that not only do other people benefit from hearing what you have to say, but it really crystallizes it more in your mind when you're speaking truth into it. And this is more than just like thinking positive and, oh, I'm going to have a good time and all of that. That's all important. But we're really going to pinpoint who that future version of yourself actually is. And we're going to really get to know him or her the whole time that we're there. And that's what really makes this exercise fun.
Love it. Oh, I can't wait to do that.
And we're going to do a little bit of that on the boat trip too, because
Yes.
being on the water is always a high energy experience. And there may just be some little questions, some little prompts that I give you to think about. And then as we go through the day, we'll probably do a few check-ins. So tell me what's come up for you around this. And we'll all share because that's part of how you're impacted by other people's experiences is when we share what we're thinking.
Yeah, and I love also, I was just thinking the trip is very much influenced as well by the different elements. We
Yes.
have water, we have mountain, we have fire because there's
Mhm.
Mount Etna there, right, as well.
Right.
We have the ancient soil, of Pompeii. So it's really, really great to have all this together. And that is a very healing and very inspirational way of working through that and a fun way through the food.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about the garden tour that we're going to do and the pizza making
Oh,
class.
oh, that's Pepe. So I told you earlier about Pepe. Who you're gonna meet a lot. He will be around with us all the time, and can't wait for that. And he actually has, I think it started. So he is on the Sorrento side, which is another cute little village, which is on the other side
Uh-huh.
from where we're staying, and he has his house there and with lemon gardens, and of course there are herbs in the gardens and all
Mhm.
kind of things. And he does a pizza school. So he has a pizza school there. So we're gonna learn with his help, and I think there's gonna be his
Uh-huh.
brother and the uncle and the grandfather. I haven't understood everything because
Yeah.
families in Italy, as we all know,
Uh-huh.
are big. So it's
Right.
kind of a family thing. So they're gonna be probably all there, and they're going to teach us because I want to learn that too,
Mhm.
how to make pizza. So we're
Mhm.
gonna learn how to make pizza, and of course we cannot just make it; we have to eat it as
Of
well.
course. Of course.
And while we go there, he will explain us a little bit everything in the garden, show us the lemon trees, and then we have some limoncello. Limoncello is a liquor done from lemons, as the name probably says it, gives it away. And it's really a great liquor, a bit dangerous, I must say, but really very fruity, sweet
Yeah.
liquor. And so we're going to taste that. And of course, with the pizza, we can have some wine as well.
Uh,
So it's going to be a lot of fun together. That is something that is definitely off the beaten track. So
mhm.
usually people don't get to have this
Totally.
experience. So it's
100%.
a really a little bit something different. We will at the same day also we have a opportunity to visit Sorrento, which is
Mhm.
cute. I remember when I was there a couple of years ago, I have like a full load of pictures,
Mhm.
beautiful view because you actually see on the other side towards Naples, so you can
Mhm.
see the land and the mountain and all that. So it's
Mhm.
really, really beautiful and cute little roads, and you can do a bit of shopping there as well. Sorrento is known as the Lemon Village, or I don't know if it's the
Mm.
name, but something like that. So there's a
Uh,
lot of lemon around. You can do a little bit shopping there. It's beautiful and smells
yeah.
so good.
And we do have some free time built in on a few of the days just for that reason, because, we really want everybody to be able to enjoy on their own terms. Maybe there'll be a place that you want to circle back to, and we want to make sure that you have time to do that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. So, anything else about the itinerary or the food or any of the other activities? We've covered the boat tour, Pompeii.
So I would let's leave Pompeii for the end
Okay,
because that's really a very special uh,
okay.
day we're gonna spend there. But
Mhm.
we will have on, I don't remember now which day. I think it's on the third or the fourth day. Fourth day, I think it was. We will have, oh yeah, no, actually, when we go to Sorrento, we pass through Positano
Uh-huh.
on that day, and we're gonna have lunch in town in
Yeah.
Positano.
Hmm.
So that's and Positano is the cutest village. I mean, you literally, your cameras will be clicking. You cannot stop.
Uh-huh.
It's the place to be. You can try maybe something little. You can maybe have a little aperitivo there. Spritz is something I would recommend. They have a limoncello spritz there, which is with lemon again. You can
Uh,
have, there's a really great pastry store, pastry shop right on the beach. I remember we had really nice pastry there. And you can just walk up and down the streets and the little squares. And then there's the beach, of course, and you see the boats drifting by. It's just gorgeous. And then on the third or fourth day, we're gonna have a leisurely morning, and then we're gonna go to Ravello. Ravello is a little bit in the mountain, so we go more up in the mountain. And again, a very romantic, I think Ravello is probably the most romantic place, a little bit
okay.
more laid back. And yeah, we will have some activities in Ravello. We'll probably walk a little bit around. We'll see. I think the idea is that we have an aperitivo while we watch the sunset. I don't know if that all works together, but that's a little bit the idea. And we have some
Mhm.
dinner in town there. But Ravello is a very cute place again, just to wander around and smell and feel and get to know the locals as well. People are super friendly in
Yeah.
Italy. I That's something always
Yeah.
strikes me.
Well, it's a lot of appealing to the senses too. So it's not just the elements, the water, the mountains, the terrain and all of the history that goes with it. But everything that we've planned has been very intentional to really appeal to you and your senses too, so that that helps you have not just a deeper experience, but you enjoy it more.
Yeah, and we will, of course, the senses will come in terms of food, smell, what you see, what you hear. But also, we have planned some activities that will work on your senses,
Yes.
right? So I know some things you're doing. I will also do some activities in terms of a little bit more on the health space,
Hmm.
nutrition space,
Hmm.
mindset. So all this comes in because we're calling this La Dolce Vita in Movimento
Hmm.
because we want definitely to bring that all together, right?
Yes.
So all the different ingredients will come together to bring you forward to your future.
Yeah, and for people listening, La Dolce Vita is the Italian way of life. It is
Ab-
learning to relax, but at the same time live the life that you want.
yeah, on your own terms. And I hear one thing very often, and I think that um, could be interesting for many of the folks coming from the US or similar areas maybe. I have a lot of clients in my practice who have gluten intolerances or
Hmm.
other food intolerances that have been developed through years of eating unhealthy, highly processed food. The wheat in the US is not the best quality, right? It's GMO'd, etc., etc., all the pesticides in there. And a lot of people struggle with often gluten intolerance or similar
Right,
ones.
right,
Literally everybody I've met who came to Italy, and Italy is known to pasta, pizza, it's
right,
gluten, right?
right,
And a lot of people say like, "Oh my goodness, I will struggle." No, in the contrary. They have less issues, and I have people who moved to Italy who lived previously in the US. They have no issue eating, sorry, pizza, pasta, bread, etc. here in Italy. Now, I'm not saying if you have a gluten intolerance, you should necessarily do that. Just a little disclaimer. But to give you an idea, that is what Italy and being in Italy and experiencing Italy, how we're going to do that on the retreat, give you just a
yes.
different way of experiencing life, like I've
Mm,
just shared with you, from taking it a little bit easier, being more present with you, enjoying what's there,
yes.
having this little talk or this little connection with somebody, not
Mhm.
just the rush, rush, rush and all that. So, and I
Yeah, and the
think
rush,
that's
rush,
really,
rush. unfortunately is a lot of how we roll in the US. So giving yourselves an opportunity to experience something like this, what we want for all of you is to take some of this home with you and make it your own.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's talk about Pompeii.
Yep. Tell
I
us
love
about it.
Pompeii. It's Pompeii is for me, I like history. I love history, but I'm not somebody who's completely like, spending hours and hours or whatever. And I've traveled a lot. Pompeii is probably on my number one, number two spot of anything I've experienced in terms
Mm,
of wow factor.
yeah.
Going through Pompeii and imagining, that that was built in the past and how it is built and how amazingly it has been preserved
Uh-huh.
took my breath away,
Yeah.
literally. This
Hmm.
is the day, I mean, I literally just thinking, I get shivers
Got
here.
chills. Yeah.
It's, oh, it was so amazing. I mean, we spent one full day there. It was very hot on that day. That was the only thing, though. I'm very happy we're in October because we were there. It was much earlier in the year, right in the sun, sorry, summer. And yeah, it's so much to discover. And I know I read recently, I've not seen that. I'm actually looking forward. They have also excavated a new area that they found because they're
Oh,
constantly
great.
finding new areas and a
Uh-huh.
completely new area. I think it was like a spa, right? Like a
Uh-huh.
bath. They had at
Yeah.
the time the bath. So and it's beautiful. I've seen pictures. I can't see to it, but you cannot imagine it. I mean, literally, if we were to do the retreat only for around Pompeii, it's worth coming all the way from the US and just
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. I remember seeing Pompeii as a college student, and this was over 30 years ago. So I can only imagine the difference that not just all that time makes, but to be able to see an additional area would just be absolutely amazing. It was one of my favorite places too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely that because one, we will have a professional, and that's the only day where, I wanted definitely to have a professional tour
Yes.
guide with us. So somebody who's specialized in Pompeii, who guides us around. Obviously, it will be in English, and they will explain everything because that is, you want to know everything about
Yes.
that's there to be
100%.
known. So it's really, really good. That's the one day which will be a little bit, probably a bit more strenuous in terms of, it's a lot to take in because it's huge. It's so beautiful. You want to see it all.
Hmm.
Definitely for that, take your hats with and a lot of water. That I would recommend. But there are also like places. I know there's one part which was the amphitheater, and they had the which concert, the wall, the Pink Floyd concert they had there, the wall, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
I might mix that one up though. But I know they had a big concert there.
Yeah.
So it's like really, I mean, there's so much history in there and so amazing spaces. And on that day, we are also going to do a lunch and a wine tasting. I think
Hmm.
that was on
Yep.
that day nearby. I'm not sure where it is exactly, but it's not too far. So it's kind of in that area. And
Okay.
we're doing that as well. So it will be an amazing day.
I'm really excited about that. And we have that's on day 3 because we're planning to check into the hotel on Friday, the 17th of October. We'll have a little meet and greet that evening, but basically keep everything very low key because I know everyone will be tired from traveling. And then we'll go on the boat the next day, and then we're going to go to Pompeii on day 3. So so we're
Unless we have
gonna
to change anything. But
yeah,
yeah, that's the
yeah,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be
exciting.
amazing. It's going to be amazing. So if anyone, what I want to say before we wrap up is that we are still running $1,000 off the experience investment through June 15th. And I know several of you, some of you that signed up for this open house are thinking about that. And I know that for anyone else who is still thinking that you do have a few more days to decide, and you can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. You can reach out to Andrea as well, and we'll be happy to talk you through that. We do have payment plans, but we do encourage you, if you're at all thinking about this, to factor that in mind because $1,000 is a significant savings. So it's definitely worth your time to go ahead and, hopefully decide to join us. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I'm just looking forward. I'm excited. I can't
I
wait.
know.
It's gonna be such a nice trip. And yes, definitely feel free to contact me as well if you have
Yeah.
specific questions. Also, if you're maybe a little
Yes.
worry about if that's right for you, we are very happy, to share anything and make
Yes. And
sure
I
it's
know
the
that
best.
I've had several conversations with people who have said to me, I'm somewhat limited into how I can move. And we can definitely help you make a decision one way or the other on whether or not this is a good experience for you. I mean, obviously, we're going to try to encourage you to come because we are prepared to work with you around that, but we are also prepared to talk it through with you and help you make the best decision for you.
Absolutely. And we already checked also with Pepe. There's an option, if you need a little bit help, like, to move a little bit easier, he can make that happen as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I think that's
Wonderful.
about I think that's about it. So we have just given you a complete deep dive on what we have created and what you can expect. The dates are October the 17th through the 23rd. You will arrive on a Friday and depart the next Thursday. You will want to fly into Naples. That is the closest airport, unless you are planning to come to Italy a few days before or stay a few days later. We can certainly put you in touch with the people to talk about that if that is what you're thinking. So, any other questions, please reach out to either of us. We will be happy to talk you through it and definitely hope to take your deposit and save your room. So, I think that's it.
Can't
Can you?
wait to see you all.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye.
All right. Have a great day. All right. Bye.